Hey, I'm on 145-day streak on my Duolingo. I'm relearning Chinese.
Oh, there you go.
I can't believe how much I fucking forgot. Because I was not close to fluent, but I could get around and I could have a conversation.
I think we talked about this on the one podcast. I had that regular who was translating Harry Potter books from Mandarin at the bar.
Oh,
like that was
right.
that was her hobby. Was
yes,
she was sitting there like with a fucking Mandarin dictionary and the Harry Potter book and like an iPad and was just like sitting there like making notes and shit.
It's a fucking hell of a hobby.
It's
Jesus
just
Christ.
a hobby. She wasn't doing it for work.
Yeah,
I mean that's a great exercise for your brain.
She was like obviously fucking down with kind of trying to learn Mandarin and also fucking
Oh, that's a great practice.
Ravenclaw or whatever the fuck.
That's crazy.
I'm a Hufflepuff.
That is a Ravenclaw activity. Sitting at a bar translating a fucking book. That is a Ravenclaw.
I'm fucking.
That's why you're
defense,
Hufflepuff.
I don't want to say that. I might be wrong.
Is that like calling somebody a Karen?
Yeah, no, not at all. Ravenclaw, it's a compliment. Yeah. Hufflepuff is an insult.
There you go.
Yeah, it's the one that you just took such proud ownership of, Robin.
Fuck.
No, I wanted to learn. I saw the movie Arrival when it came out, and I was like, oh, I wish I knew language like that.
Yeah.
Like it made me want to study languages. Not enough to actually do it, but it made me want to.
Yeah, I'm there with you. The more I've traveled, the more I realize how many people speak different languages than us.
We're the only country that does it. Literally the only one that does it.
And like we like get upset that
embarrassing.
Like the other major languages that are like prominent here, like we don't make any effort to really learn those either. I mean, I studied Spanish and shit, but it's just kind of like there's no emphasis on foreign language. I mean, I did it for college.
Yeah.
But that was literally a requisite, and it was like, cool, I'm not going to the 200 level in Spanish, because that shit gets fucking hard.
It does, yeah. You gotta write shit. And...
Both of my girls have
Escríbalo.
have taken Spanish for... Peyton took Spanish for 6 years. So all through, like, I guess, junior high and high school.
Yeah,
and then
so did
Harper is doing... I think she's on her third year of Spanish.
Holy shit.
But it's so beautiful to watch, and it's like one of those things I hope they don't move away from, because like you were saying, like you can know it, you could use it, but once you step away from it, if you're not regularly,
it's all gone.
It goes away so quick.
And it is coming back, but not at the level that it maybe if I was younger or something like that. But like it's I remember some things, but I can't. Speaking it and listening to it are so different, and then reading it and writing it are so different. So it's like really you have to learn 4 different ways for the same language. And that's with any language. Like with Spanish, like I can read it pretty well. Yeah. But if someone's speaking in a conversational pace, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like
I can pick out shit. Like but it's with like for like Mandarin, that's literally just strict memorization of symbols if we're talking about writing it.
Well, you
it's
have
like
to
a
learn
character for every fucking thing, right?
And there is something called pinyin, which is the written version of the characters. So you have the character version and the pinyin version.
Well, so there's I mean, I got to assume there's some level of overlap with some of these characters. Like if you look at something like, okay, well that's going to be a base noun with adjectives around it or some shit. I have no fucking idea.
And credit to Duolingo, the way they set it up, it is really simple to digest and learn. And there are matching things for like you see the symbol for woman pop up a lot, and that will like feminine and masculine words, and so you'll see like because part of the character will
didn't either actually.
Yeah, so they have just like ta. There's 2 types of ta. So ta can either have the feminine symbol or it can have the masculine symbol, but they both mean like her or him. But if you're speaking it conversationally, it's contextual. But if it's written, it's different. But you can tell if it's a female or a male based on the character, but not on the pinyin. So it's like it's very complicated.
So like with Spanish, what helped with me is that at least with the fucking letters, with the exception of like accents and then tildes, it's like the same shit.
Oh yeah.
It's not like, you look at Russian, it's got like an upside down backwards R and some shit I've never seen before.
Yeah. Well, like, and then you have tones.
Like, okay, so I need to fucking first learn how to draw that shit, like how you learn how to do an 8.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my oldest daughter actually is, I think she's in her 2nd year of Russian. She's choosing to just do Duolingo Russian.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Right. I was trying to think, I was like, I want to learn Spanish too, but I was like, it might behoove me to re-up on my Chinese.
Re-up
But just
on
you
that
know how the
Chinese.
world's going, you
Just
never
hit up.
know.
Yeah.
Russian's a good one
Right,
to,
right,
up
yeah,
on.
Zima.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah. The actor? Or the
actor
beverage?
Zima. Didn't we find that article that there's people that aren't allowed to like draw comparisons between Zima and the president of China, Deng Xiaoping, because they do look alike?
Oh,
and it's
that's
like
right,
it's like,
yeah.
well, one's an actor, the other's, whatever.
Yeah.
I just booked my darkness retreat. So I'm gonna go.
How many days?
7 days.
Okay, so what is this one?
So this will be end of March, to the beginning of April, 30th.
Doesn't
to the
even
6th.
consult us. Like, okay,
No,
so
it didn't
put
even-
the podcast
yeah.
on hold. I had
The
fucking
priorities
I had a
are
fucking
clear, Adam.
wealth of Q2
God.
fucking material.
Good for you.
Every couple weeks when we can manage it, we are here,
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
decide to put
Just
yourself
fucking
ahead of
Q2,
us.
I'm gonna
How
go
fucking
literal
dare you?
dark. Is that where you're going? You're gonna be in a dark room.
Literal dark, yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so-
you know what? I'll bring a microphone in.
Okay,
I'll
right,
zoom in.
right,
I'll
right.
just make sure the screen's dark. There
Yeah,
you
this
go.
is the Chick-fil-A reboot.
Yeah.
You just bring your. All right, it's still dark.
Dude.
It's
Still
still
dark.
dark.
Oh, is that a Yukon Denali? Ooh, I
Yeah.
don't know, Adam.
Well, let's see. So I'm planning on going in on a Sunday, and if we typically record on Wednesdays, that'll be 3 days of me in complete darkness with nobody talking, no sounds, no nothing.
I
except
think
for me and
I should be
darkness.
the guy to break
That would
that
be like a
silence.
great 1 hour just
Yes.
podcast of me just randomly talking.
Just
about
all
shit.
of you know what my
Probably my internal DMT
Oh,
is
dude.
kicking in. I'm
So-
hallucinating.
yes, I want to hear that
Straight up,
episode.
like,
That's a special
That
episode.
sounds awesome. Still, probably one of my life goals is to somehow witness the breakfast line at those fucking silent retreats and that toaster.
I
the
know.
toaster, the bread, the jam, all of it. I will put fucking some bucks down to watch that.
You know,
well, let's
People
go.
are like, I'm
Let's
gonna go
just
to
sign
Vegas
up.
to watch so and so fight. I'm like, dude, I will spend that much money to watch
Toast
fucking
line.
watch a bunch of hippie dippies make fucking English muffins for 20 minutes.
It's worth it for you to sign up for a silent retreat.
I mean, I thought about it just for that, but it's like I'm gonna have to I'll be part of that problem.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
I
definitely.
also will need the toast at this point.
I just want to watch the
I
toast being
do,
needed.
Yeah.
Now
I'm a participant.
Aware of it.
Yeah. I feel like
I-
a darkness retreat. I'm such an introvert that to me sounds like a vacation. I know it probably wouldn't be after 3 days, but
Yeah.
for me,
Okay.
I'm like that sounds wonderful.
So
I'm really
yeah.
excited.
So
Yeah.
what does this entail? You're going to where to be where for how long to do what?
All right, so it's in.
I got questions. I'm gonna hit you.
I
I'm
got
gonna hit
answers
you with
for
some.
man. So I'm going to. It's in Tidewater, Oregon. So it's just south of Newport on the coast.
Okay.
5 hours away. And so I'll be in my own space, on my own little hut, if you will, and bathroom, toilet, bathtub, bed, little table, and just basic like small little studio kind of area. And they dumbwaiter in food, so you don't have any light in that kind of aspect. They do twice a day, so you have some kind of barometer because they feed you twice a day.
of time.
But you can also you can take the option to have them stagger your food and like really fuck with your head. Like you can really kind of remove yourself from,
Right.
and you can choose the level of
You
what
gonna
you
do
want to
that?
go. I don't know. I'm gonna think about it. I got till March. So, but so yeah. So it's gonna be 7 days of no lights. I can choose to be silent. They do check-ins a couple times a day to make sure we're still alive.
That's good.
And so it can be silent check-ins, like slide a note under the door, I slide it back, stuff like that.
How are you seeing the food in the bathroom and all this?
You
if There's
don't.
no. So
You're
gonna figure it
literally
out.
using your senses to just figure it
So
out.
if they
Well, I
slip
mean,
you,
you're
so
gonna-
if they slip you a note just to check your life, you just
You'll
slip it
hear
back
it.
just
You
to
just-
make sure.
exactly.
So it's not like to read. It's
no,
more
it's
of
just
just
a paper.
like,
Like,
got
hey,
it.
we're putting this in here. We're here. Can you slide this back?
Do you have a
Let
little
us know you're
string to help you to the bathroom? Like how
Nope.
do you just got to bump
safe.
into
You
stuff?
are 100% on your own.
Well, see,
So-
I mean,
Interesting.
So you get down there, they give you a tea candle. The
Mm-hmm.
tea candle's like 2 hours, right? So you light the candle and you get, adjusted to the space. You kind of get a mental map of where you're going, what's going on, all this shit. And then as soon as you can either blow the candle out or whenever it goes out, you're done, right? You have no more light. But you also have freedom to leave whenever you want to. You're not trapped there.
Sure.
So if you like start to freak out or something happens and you're just not able to manage it, you can open the door and walk out.
Yeah, of course.
But
I would hope.
But if it's at night, it's still gonna be dark.
Yeah.
Oh, you got till 4 o'clock, baby.
But yeah, I'm excited, and part of it too is just what you said. I'm excited to just go and sleep.
Yeah.
And not have to worry about getting up, and not have to know what time it is when I get up.
Yes.
And just be able to sleep, relax. I'm trying to build in like an understanding of what my like a practice would be. So meditation, mantras, breath work. If I get a space big enough, I can put my yoga mat down and know that nothing's impeding the space of the yoga mat.
Your iPad.
Doing some
iPhone. It'd be really interesting to do sound stuff in there.
I'm gonna do
after
chanting.
a couple of days, but like just knocking on stuff, wondering how, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like finding different sounds for things.
Yep. One thing that happened
7
in Vipassana.
days?
Yeah. So one thing that happened in Vipassana for me was, so I was confronted with a lot of just shit, and it was really fucking hard. Like it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Like all the when you take away all your dopamine access, take away your access to dopamine.
Yeah.
You start to really understand why you need it.
Yeah.
And how bad the situation you've gotten yourself into, like stories and all this shit. And so the thing that I did to help me manage that while I was trying not to turn away from the stories, but just not try to give them more time than they needed, because I was trying to move myself from them, was I went through every single fucking song that I've ever known, and I played it in my head multiple times.
Oh, like Yankee Doodle Dandy and shit like
no,
that?
No. Like Outkast songs, like Tribe Called Quest, Metallica, fucking Hootie and the Blowfish, right? Like all these fucking you have nothing but yourself.
Yeah.
And you have no Netflix. You have nothing to read. We couldn't obviously talk. We can't even do yoga. Like I would stretch after meditations, and they would come over and tap me on the shoulder and be like, "Not allowed to move like that. You have to walk. That's all you can do."
You know who else did that is Diana Nyad. She's that woman who swam from Cuba to Florida.
Okay.
It took her like 60 hours, and she was in the water the whole time. But there's no and she was like, I just sang every song I know. It had to be in 4/4 to keep me on beat or whatever. And she would sing. She had her own playlist in her head, and she would replay every song over and over, and to keep her stroke beat up.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's like similar because she was just by herself in the water for fucking 60 hours.
God,
Yeah.
such a mind fuck.
They just did a movie on Netflix about her with Jodie Foster and Annette Bening.
Oh, sweet.
But
Nell getting work again.
yeah, right? I know. Fucking she did great. They both did great. But yeah. And she was like in her 60s. I think she was like 64 when she did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. God damn.
Yeah.
Man. That's fucking impressive.
She was the only woman to ever do it. She tried it in her 20s and then tried it like 5 more times and failed. Almost died.
Knocked
Got
it out
attacked
in her
by
60s.
box jellyfish. Almost killed her.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Do they have a boat pace her just to make sure? Okay. Good.
Yeah, so she has a whole team, and then there's a drag light that's red. So she follows the drag light off of the side of the boat, and then they got these. The first time she tried it, she was in a metal cage, but she was free swimming, but the cage was surrounding her to keep her from the sharks.
Yeah, okay.
But she didn't want to do it that time because she was like, that's assisted swim. Like, I want to be able to do it free. And so I guess they had these electronic poles that had a frequency in the water that kept all the sharks away. Because the sharks, it fucks up with their sensory issues.
Holy
so that's
shit.
how, but didn't keep the box jellyfish away.
Yeah, box jellyfish.
Yeah,
They'll
fuck you up.
Man, jellyfish is like one of the oldest creatures of time.
Yeah, they're aliens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like I think that was the first thing that spawned once water hit Earth. Like once we were able to create water.
Box jellyfish is like, bitch, this is my house.
Dude, yeah, jellyfish have been around for billions of years.
Yeah.
And they're still like the same as they are. So like they would have evolved to something different if
Yeah,
they
if
needed
they need
to.
it. No, they're like, this works for me.
That shit's fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name off the top of my head. It's like a paraquin or something like that. But it's whales evolved from like an anteater type looking thing.
A land animal?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, you got to think about it. Like, so water was first,
Uh-huh.
right? So all the creatures in the water are the oldest because that's what things could do, right?
Sure.
As the land became habitable, water creatures came out and became amphibians. Amphibians became reptiles. Reptiles and amphibians mutated into mammals, right?
Right.
So mammals were just kicking it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they were just doing their thing. And these little, I think they're called paraquins. There's something with the P, but they look like big anteaters.
Let me look it up, but I
Yeah.
won't look up paraquin. I'll look up
Kodo.
weird,
Look up
weird
Kodo.
ancient whale thing.
Kodo luthier name.
And so, and these mammals used to go in. They were like clumsy on the water or in land. They were like kind of like lumbering, kind of like walruses, but didn't look like them. But they kind of like lumbered around and shit. But once they got in the water, they were very smooth and agile. They could hold their breath for a long amount of time. And then eventually they just stayed in the water. And now, like, if you look at this thing that you're looking up and think about a fucking blue whale, like that's what a blue whale started as. That's fucking crazy.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. They're like they kind of look like a cross between a pig and an anteater.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, doesn't fucking the dude call some guy a paraquat on the Big Lebowski? Paraquat? Yeah, he does. Is that what it's called?
A paraquat?
Yeah.
Oh God.
What did
Prehistoric?
There should be like, what did whales evolve from?
Should know this. My uncle's a whale.
Yeah. All right, whales evolved
Coryphodon.
from land-dwelling Pakitas.
Pakitas. Okay.
Pakicetus. I think a paraquat is like a type of bird.
Peregrine is a bird. Yeah.
Okay.
Peregrine
Pakicetus.
falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pakicetus.
fucking Pakicetus, man. That blew my fucking mind.
That's
It's like
crazy.
one of those things you never think about, and then
No.
when you hear about it, you're like, wait. I have to scour the internet and make sure I'm not being fooled right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot
Fucking
easier
hell.
to believe a grandpa in the sky just plopped it in the ocean. I mean, that's how I always thought they got there. So
I was talking about
It's
that
like,
shit
you know what
to
I
some
need?
people
Just
at work
sprinkle of
yesterday.
this.
I'm just like, she was talking about mosquitoes and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, you know, kid, we're not gonna get into this, but yeah, really, what the fuck was God on that?
Yeah.
Like,
You know what they need?
mosquitoes.
Just a little more irritant on there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. It's too calm on
Fucking
Earth.
mosquitoes.
So I mentioned earlier that I started playing the flute again.
Yeah.
And so I got a flute a couple years ago, and I just kind of was drawn to it when I started doing the sound stuff. And it's just this little box flute. Like,
Oh,
it looks like it's a little rectangle. It's nothing too fancy. It's got 5 little holes on it, so I can really play with one hand. And I figured out like a few things, and I played it at some sound baths, but I never really went to it. But to kind of move towards the topic today, like, the new Andre 3000 album really inspired me.
I can't wait to
And
hear
I don't mean to sound corny about that, but it
Or
really did
fluty.
inspire me to get back into the flute
Yeah.
and start doing that again. And just to hear him, and I've listened to a bunch of the interviews about the album and you know, where his head's at and shit. And the way he talks about, you know, because there's the social media stuff that was going around. They would see Andre with the flute, start videoing him, and that was like the first time we've seen Andre in a long time.
Yeah.
And he looked happy. He was playing his flute. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that looks beautiful, right?
Yeah.
What's going on with that? And so he talks about that, and he's like, you know, I just love being in nature or being in humanity with my flute and just playing whatever needs to be played.
And inspiration in the moment.
100%.
Yeah.
And just the way he talked about the instrument re-inspired me not only to grab the flute again, but to start playing different instruments.
Yeah.
Because I had to remind myself, like, yes, I did take guitar lessons when I was younger, but that's all I've done.
Right.
And everything that I do now, I've never had a lesson from. I've just figured out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not like pat myself on the back, but that's like, hey, have the balls to go buy fucking something different and figure it the fuck out, because
Yeah.
you know you can.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, once you learn,
Get
I'm
yourself
a
a glockenspiel and glockenspiel it up. You know?
We have one actually.
I'm a firm believer. If you can play one instrument, you can play all the instruments.
Yeah.
Because
I
once you,
disagree.
no, I think you. Well, I don't think maybe you can't
just like-
excel at all of them at the same level, but I think you could manage to play any instrument
I
because
agree. I
the
do
muscle.
Drummers are unique breeds.
Well, I mean, I learned the saxophone and then I picked up the drums, and it is different muscles that
Yeah.
you're using,
Yeah.
obviously, but like the act of, okay, I know I need repetition, I know I need this, I know I need to, like, and I feel like once you are able to read music a little bit too, that's
Yeah.
really helpful with. But I do think they cross.
Yeah. I think, okay, so I'll comment on the drummer thing, because I think I know where you're coming from with this. So if you're playing an instrument sans percussion, you have a lot of different like melodies and tones that you're playing, right? But you're also playing percussive as well. Like, take a guitar.
Yeah.
The way you strum is percussive, right? Saxophone, horns, the way you finger the horn is percussive, right? So it's in my head, it would be easier to transition to a drumming if you can figure out, if you can get out of your own head about making the limbs do the own things, because they're already doing that, it's just doing it in a different modality. But you're having tones involved, whereas with the drum or percussion, there's not as many tones, so it might be a bigger stretch to go from drums to a toned instrument. Even though the drums do have tones, I'm not saying that. But like strumming and hearing the tones in a melody rather than individually. But I still think, to your point, Kinsey, if you got music in you, which we all do, we can figure this shit out, right?
No, I mean, I agree with that. I remember, I think it was like in fucking 5th grade band or whatever. He was actually like literally trying to like determine who's going to fucking play what instrument to some extent. It's just like, all right, well, you guys are all going to fucking, who knows what they're playing?
Right.
Fucking half the class does, half the class doesn't. But like one of the exercises he did was like play this for them with one hand, play this with your foot or whatever. And like some people fucking couldn't do it. I was one of them. That's no slight on me or whatever, but it's just like.
But that doesn't mean they can't be trained.
No, of course. But I do think that there are, drummers specifically, like some of them have an innate sense of rhythm that they're just born with. That it doesn't matter. Like, I have confidence that I could learn how to read sheet music and then be able to fucking read beats and go do that.
Yeah.
But that's slightly different than what I'm talking about.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like,
well, and
as far as vibe out with a groove,
the same with
while
dancers.
Adam fucking picks up the fucking piccolo.
Yeah. Well, like, I could learn dance moves, but it's not going to look as good as someone who has dance in them.
I'm not,
you know what I mean?
Julia
Like
Stiles' partner, bro.
Yeah, I'm going to look like Julia Stiles for sure in Save the Last Dance.
I never actually saw that movie, so
Are
she
you
sucked.
kidding?
Oh, that was a great movie. I remember that one. I wouldn't say great.
It is worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's pump the brakes on that. That's reserved for Roadhouse.
It is worth it to watch her finale dance performance that she brings to Juilliard. It is the most basic dance that anyone could ever do. And it was just like, and you're into Juilliard. You got a chair. You got hip hop music playing. You're in. You're edgy.
That. I love the new thing that's been going around on the internet recently about putting movie scenes with music to different music and just seeing how it reacts.
Oh, yeah.
So the one I've seen recently that was my favorite thing, I can't stop laughing about it, is the final scene of Dirty Dancing, but done to the Muppets theme song. And it matches up so perfectly, and it brings me so much fucking joy to see the boop, 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 boop Muppets theme song over fucking Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
I fucking love it. But, okay, so Andre's new album, even though it's getting a lot of like criticism, it's outselling the new Lil Wayne, all the new artists.
Because everybody wants to hear what he's gonna do with it. So even if they don't come back, like I listened to it, and I remember thinking the first thing I was like, oh, this is Adam's thing. Like this has got to be so exciting for Adam.
I was super excited, and so for many reasons, and like.
There's an element of like Tool here though, where it's like, okay, when was the last? What was this fucking Idlewild, which was like 2007?
But my man has dropped many verses on many songs since then, right? He hasn't put an album out, but he's put out many fucking verses that will destroy any current hip hop, like artist. Like he's been doing his shit, right?
No Bun B, but yes.
Oh well, dude, I don't know. I think Bun B and Andre are in similar categories for me, just like top MCs. But the interesting thing, and this is very self-reflective, but it brought me a lot of joy hearing this album and being able to look back on my own personal journey. Because when I was introduced to Outkast was when I first started doing drugs and started doing my dumb ignorant kid shit, right?
Yeah.
So Outkast taught me a lot of the shit that I didn't know because I was a suburban white kid, right? I only knew so much, and I started listening to this type of music, and it introduced me to concepts and terms and racism and separatism and things like that I wasn't aware of, right? Yeah. And so even though I started doing my ignorant kid shit, these guys were kind of my teachers, right? To keep me kind of grounded, keep me focused on what I was trying to do, right? And progression. I love their music. I've loved everything that they've done. Even the weird shit. Speaker Box, Love Below, Idlewild, like all that shit. I really appreciated it. And so later on in my life, I'm in my 40s, and I've got more peaceful practices. I'm meditating. I'm doing all this different stuff. Still love hip hop. Still very much listen to it.
You're in the flute album part of your life.
I am.
Yeah.
And so to see somebody that was so influential in my younger years to keep me grounded and to teach me about life in its own way, right? And this is just self-proclaimed. This doesn't say he was teaching me personally.
Right.
Or he set out to teach me. But And now, as I've grown now into an adult in my new peaceful life, again, still loving hip hop, there's now this same person that gives me another thing that also is growing with me and to teach me and to re-inspire me. And it was like almost emotional when I finally put that together.
Well, and what was not shocking, but like really eye-opening was like y'all have grown up in the same, like you're on the same path. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not the same path, but
No.
like mentally, like y'all are in the same place right now.
Yeah, like growth and expansion.
Right,
and like,
yeah. And to hit it at this point where you're doing what you're doing and to have it be at the same time that he's experimenting with very similar things is like, it's got to be very special.
Yeah.
It'd be like Beyonce being in the same. It's like Beyonce's
It's
like, you know what?
I'm gonna do improv.
I'm going to do improv maybe with some saxophone. I'd be like,
it's like
yeah.
Dolly's Rock album.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and
oh,
so
yeah.
I'm going to put this out there. So he's living in somewhere in California now, so not too far from Washington.
Right.
I would
Same
imagine
coast.
he comes up to the coast, comes up to Washington every once in a while, see how it's a cool city.
Yeah.
I would love to do a sound bath with Andre 3000.
We're going to manifest
We're
that.
doing very similar things to bring peaceful, beautiful, like joy to people, and accenting flute or whatever he wants to bring to a sound bath that has all of those aspects already, I think would just be beautiful and would just be so like such a beautiful experience.
Get Alan Stone on the phone. Alan Stone's got to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody.
That'd be a hell of a show.
Yeah.
Alan Stone, Andre 3000.
Yeah, just a sound
bath.
bath.
Either
Aerial
way.
sound bath.
You guys have friends with deeper Rolodexes than I do.
Yeah. There's got to be a way to make this happen.
Your case in point, I still think that people have a list of phone numbers on a spinning thing on your fucking desk.
What, you
You were
don't?
talking about
People
a watch?
don't?
Yeah.
All right, so like, okay, so other artists that might have pivoted that you did or didn't appreciate. So one recently, and not that I really appreciate. Well, I had my Limp Bizkit phase. You know, that
Didn't we all? Didn't
give
we
me some-
all?
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not saying we all did, right?
I tried to like the song
But
Counterfeit on the first
Give
album.
me something to break, you know, like the song you did with Method Man. Like I went through that phase. Like I liked that album,
Yeah.
right? I didn't like anything outside of that, and I
Break
grew to
stuff.
not
I still
like
listen to
shit,
break
right?
stuff. Great.
But I saw Fred Durst and Limp Bizkit recently.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Fred Durst dresses like a cowboy.
Yes.
Yeah, and he wears like
Like a big
fucking
cowboy
tinted
hat.
Yes.
glasses
Yeah.
and has like
Yeah.
a handlebar mustache.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He's got a funky look now. I actually kind of dig it. 'Cause
Yeah.
He's probably like, what,
It's
52
Totally.
or some
It
shit?
is so interesting
Leaning
because I
into
can't remember
it.
the guitarist's name off the top of my head
Wes?
now.
Wes
Yeah, Wes
Borland.
Borland
Yeah.
is still dressed like Wes Borland.
Yeah,
He
he's
has,
like, hey man, if it ain't broke,
Fucking
don't
doing
fix it.
Doing it.
It working for me,
and then
Fred.
just like bass and drummer back
Yeah,
there, just
yeah,
doing
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
we're
that's
just here
fine.
to play, you know? Fucking hell. It brought me so much joy to see fucking
I
Fred
saw a
Durst just
TikTok
jumping
of
around.
Limp Bizkit performing, and Fred Durst was dressed as a cowboy, and I was like, was he trying to trick the crowd, thinking that they were like, because the crowd wasn't aware it was Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
truly wasn't aware, and I was like, oh, this is a bit. And then I saw other performances. I was like, oh no, he just has to like
Yeah.
reintroduce himself to the
got
world.
I got on some heavy metal email list probably about 3-4 years ago. So I get almost daily emails about like just shit that's happening, and it was like Limp Bizkit plays first show, and this is like 3-4 years ago, and
Yeah.
it's like Fred Durst looks different, and I like clicked on it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's newsworthy.
That's a way to put it.
But yeah, no, I mean, he like ever since they kind of came back out, he's been rocking this like funky, weird, like I play casinos in the middle of nowhere fucking vibe.
Hey, more power
He's just
to him,
leaning
man.
into it.
More power
The
to
Emerald
him.
Queen Casino look,
Yep.
for sure.
EQC, babe.
So I got a question for you, Robin, because you love metal, right?
Yeah, I have.
I mean, you're on a mailing list.
Yeah,
none of us are on a
I
mailing
don't know
list.
how, but yeah.
And I don't know if you probably weren't old enough to know the transition between this, but you now have enough knowledge to have an opinion, I'm sure. But what do you feel about the way Metallica pivoted during the Black Album?
So that was the thing, is like when I was first got into it, that was what I got into.
See,
I
same.
was 7 years old or 8
Yep.
years old. I heard the Black Album, and I'm like, this is the coolest fucking thing
100%.
ever. Then I was in middle school, and my buddy Sean was like, dude, you gotta hear Ride the Lightning, man. Ride the Lightning. Fist fucking- Sorry, Sean, you don't even sound anything like that at all.
Classic Sean.
Yeah,
sound.
classic Sean. Red Lightning.
But I mean, I know that a lot of people were pretty pissed off,
Yeah.
like hardcore metalheads and shit. Again, I'm not old enough to be part of that, but it was like I remember when I saw them live in '98. There were people flipping off the band when they were playing
Really?
like some of the Black Album shit.
Wow.
Albeit the mellow shit, but the guys just standing there like fucking guys, probably like 40. Just fuck you. Like,
What are you
is-
shredding?
Yeah. Yeah, no, but there was a lot of people that thought that ruined the band and all that.
I actually didn't probably even listen to Ride the Lightning or Master of Puppets until probably like the late 90s. And I didn't appreciate it then.
Yeah.
I had no appreciation for it. But I had also grown out of metal. I was listening to more hip hop then. But I love that Black Album. Like, it turned me on to rock in a different way. Like, I was listening to a lot of Guns N' Roses and, like, maybe some early Soundgarden and shit at that point. But that Black Album was like, I wouldn't say polished, but it was like they found their pocket for that album, and it made a lot of sense. Like, the melodies were great, the fucking riffs were fucking fantastic, especially for a young teenager.
It went all around the world very quickly because of all of those things.
Right.
Like, it was everything that the album before it wasn't. But it's just like, it's kind of, a lot of people have all these things, and it's like Metallica is a great example, because when you brought up this idea of like artists that we've evolved with or that we've kind of grown with, that band I fucking just pretty much dropped after like probably. Actually, really, that Saint Anger album, which was that terrible one, they had the documentary, that was just like, okay, don't like any of it. But it was like, I'd already just discovered, like, after probably about 15 or 16, I was like, okay, there's way more shit out there than Metallica. Because, like, literally, like, 10, 11, 12, 13, what's the best band? Metallica, best album, Black Album,
Yeah, easy.
It's just interesting. Now it's just, you watch all this shit, and you're just like,
Yeah. Yeah, one for me that I grew away from very disappointingly, but good for them for being successful and doing what they do, is Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah.
I loved their first two
Bridging the
albums.
Gap.
Bridging the Gap was a
Bridging the Gap's a
fucking
good
dope
album.
ass
Was
fucking
that
album.
before
Behind the
Fergie?
Front was the
Yeah.
second album.
Yeah.
Before Fergie.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it was just the three.
Yeah.
And they, like, Joints and Jams was one of the first hip hop songs I remember hearing as a young age. It was like, what the fuck is this? Is dope as shit,
Yeah.
right? This is like early backpack rap shit, right?
Yeah.
And I love that. One of my boys, Drew, turned me onto them. And we used to, Bridging the Gap, Behind the Front. Those two albums were great. And then Elephant came out, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
This is all
Yeah.
poppy shit and like hooky. And then Fergie was there. No.
No.
Like,
No.
Yeah, I don't
shade
get
or
the only
anything.
thing
Like,
I'll make fun of
they
Fergie
found
about
their
is
they
that,
found their
that,
pocket.
Yeah.
Like,
that,
fuck,
and I
man,
think
was
that
so
there-
national
pissed.
anthem.
There is a Fergie, that national anthem.
Look at the
Oh,
guy.
Fergie
Fergie.
gave her so much shit. For
I know.
that.
I do feel bad for her because she's just existing. Like, she's not.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, I mean, she
Fuck tradition.
swung for the fucking fences,
Yeah.
and she did it, and she did
it
it. and
4-4. She did it sultry.
Great.
And not 3-3.
Yeah.
You know,
All
whatever.
for it.
Do you? Fucking hell.
I do think there is a difference between something like the Black Eyed
Wow,
Peas,
touched the
where
nerve there
they
with
are.
you.
No, because
Sorry to
I
talk over
feel
you.
fucking bad for Fergie because
I
it's like
feel
she
that.
hasn't done anything. Like all she's doing is
Well,
just.
she ruined Black Eyed Peas, according to
It's
Adam.
not her fault.
Those are Adam's
me.
words.
for you.
Ruined it
Yeah,
for me.
She ruined it
But
for a lot of people
clearly
because
not for
it's funny.
everybody else.
I was talking to somebody else at work about that. They're like, "Oh, I like Black Eyed Peas before Fergie," and I didn't know that there was a Black Eyed Peas before.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Way
don't.
I
Yeah,
different vibe.
didn't
Way
know
different
at
vibe.
all.
Yep.
So I think there's a difference between artists that I'm not going to use the word sell out, but like there are certain forms of music that don't probably sell as well in the mainstream, especially during that time, early aughts.
We talked about
that
the Black
kind
Album
of
and didn't use that
music
word.
was not going to be on the mainstream next to Maroon 5.
Yeah.
Like it just wasn't.
Yeah.
It might be now that we have like streaming and people can, be independent and shit. But like in 2001, if you're looking to make money, sometimes you have to sacrifice some artistry to get to where you are if that is your priority.
Right.
So I understand that. And then I think there is a difference between that and somebody like Andre 3000, who is just like, also Andre 3000 had the status behind him rather
Yeah,
in
to
front
do
of
that.
him to be able to do that. And
Yeah.
same with Beyonce, where she's like, I don't have to do anything I don't want to
Well,
do
so
now.
that's-
I can do whatever
We
the
can bring
fuck
this up
I want
because
now.
Andre is a Mount Rushmore hip hop fucking artist, so it's
Right.
like he could
It's-
release an album of him farting on a snare drum,
Right.
Airhead shout out,
Same with
and,
Beyonce.
and people would listen to it.
Same with
too.
Beyonce, yeah.
like
totally.
Yeah.
'Cause they're
I
curious.
They have the license.
fucking Will I Am does not have that cachet.
No.
Oh, I don't know. He might. Yeah, that guy's a pretty fucking. He's got a big name.
He does, but it's not at the level of like you
Or,
could do
I
whatever
didn't
you
wanna
want
say the,
and have it sell.
What's the other guy's
Okay,
name?
Yeah. Apple the App.
Yeah,
Oh,
him.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched a documentary a while back, and I've been hearing this comment made more now recently with more like bands aren't. I shouldn't say that. There's still organicness with bands, right? Hey, I play this, I play that. Hey, let's get together, do that. Let's try out maybe an instrument here, an instrument there, but we kind of form organically. there's now lots of musicians like putting themselves together and saying, "Hey, like dream team kind of shit.
Boy
Like,
genius.
I want you to. I want you. I want you. I want you." And then when they get together, they decide what genre they want to play. So it's not even organic. As like, "Hey, we're a rock band, right?" It's like, okay, so what genre do we feel like we can be in that we can make maybe the most impact, but also the most money in, and have freedom and blah blah blah, do all that shit.
Yeah.
So it's like they're making very definitive choices into which genre to go into. And that kind of blew my mind. I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh no, we're going to be an R&B group because I think that's going to be where we can, you know,
Right.
Like, but we have the opportunity to be country, fucking rock. We could fucking be a reggae group, and that's like, holy shit.
We could bring back ska for Christ's
Fucking,
sakes.
which is coming back.
Yeah,
you
I know. I love it. I'm not mad about that at all.
So I mean, but you know, when we think of like super groups and them trying to doing it, I you know, and admittedly, I always skew to rock, and that's what I know. But like, very few times does that ever really work out. As far as
Well, it's
sonically.
not even. Well, it's
Traveling
not even,
Wilburys is one, but now you're talking about like fucking literally the hitters of the hitters. You know, like
No,
Bob Dylan and George Harrison. And
Well,
shit.
no. It doesn't even need to be like super groups as far as like everybody's a big name. But look at
Boy Genius is a great fucking example.
Boy
I don't even know what
Zach
that
Brown
is.
band. That's another band that chose which genre they want to go towards. But God, Queens of the Stone Age. You know, that's like Screaming Trees, fucking Foo Fighters. You know?
Yeah.
But they're like not like, oh my God, that's like Jimmy Page. It's like eventually you figure out like, holy shit, the bass player's from the Screaming Trees. Fucking cool, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, like, well, yeah.
What was the one? Perfect Circle? Is
Perfect
that-
Circle, yeah, most
Mm-hmm.
definitely, right? That's a great Smashing Pumpkins,
Yeah.
Tool, you know, a couple different bands right there.
Yeah.
Like, but nobody really that besides Maynard that stand out-ish is like fucking that guy. You know,
Yeah.
it's like what was it? The James Eha, the
Yeah,
guitarist
James
from,
Eha was on the second album. And
yeah.
it was like, and it was totally like when we saw him live. Fuck, that was 20 years ago. It was 20 fucking years ago.
Fucking hell.
He's like, hey, it's Perfect Circle. That's totally the guy from Smashing Pumpkins. James Eha.
Yeah, he never got the credit he needed in Smashing Pumpkins because Billy Corgan just ate it all
Bless
up.
his heart, not the best singer. As a singer who can't sing myself.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
he was a singer.
Yeah, he doesn't. Well,
Yeah, well, that's a
Yeah,
real
I
reason for
expected
that.
to see. This is one that kind of blew me away because like I heard song 2, you know, when it came out in the grunge age, you know, like woohoo.
Yeah.
Blur's
Oh,
song
yeah.
2, right?
Da-na-na-na-na.
Oh,
Yeah,
Woo!
and it was great because it was like right in that pocket of grunge. There was like Pearl Jam came out, Alice in Chains,
Yeah.
and then there was like maybe even like Silverchair was playing.
Yeah, I was
then.
like 10. I was a big fan of that
Yeah,
when I was
but I
10.
had no way of looking deeper into Blur because it was pre-internet
No,
and
yeah,
all
yeah.
that
Right,
shit,
yeah.
right? And it was like one of those hit and miss, kind of came and went. And then I remember coming back to it like when LimeWire and all that stuff started to come around, and so I looked more into
LimeWire.
into them, and I was so weirdly disappointed by Blur's catalog.
Not a fan.
They're so weird, and I wasn't ready for them then.
Right.
Like, I wasn't ready for weird. I was expecting like more grungy shit.
Sure.
And it was more like
Oh, like Think Tank, the album. That,
it was more like Talking Heads ish, like poppy weird, but like didn't really do it
This
for
is
me.
fucking great.
It was strange. I was
Yeah.
like, where did song 2 come from? It
Well,
was just like a random little blip. That
You
they
know who
did.
else is that in my brain is Kate Bush. Like Kate Bush, I feel like was appreciated by a very niche group in her time.
Yeah.
Every song of hers sounds so fucking weird and different.
She's like mid
And then-
80s, right? 84.
Yeah.
Yeah, she might have been maybe. I mean,
Maybe a little bit
90s
before.
probably. But she and now she had the Run Up the Hill song
Yeah,
on
yeah,
Stranger Things,
Stranger
and now
Things,
she's
yeah.
getting all of her flowers that she should have gotten 20 years ago. But I feel like as a society, we have room for weirder shit now
We
that
do.
and we crave it. We don't want the mainstream stuff, and so I do feel bad for these fucking musicians and artists from 20 years ago that had those ideas that were not getting any traction, and
Right.
it was because the world wasn't ready for them, and
Yep.
it wasn't because they weren't talented or didn't have the ambition or anything like that. It was just the world wasn't ready to eat it up, and now they
Right.
are.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. Like Andre 3000 couldn't have
There's
fucking
a
released
million
this in
examples
'98.
of movies and TV shows.
Arrested
bringing,
Development.
Bringing
Yep.
songs out of the fucking like unearthing gems. Tarantino is great about
Oh,
bringing
yeah,
songs
yeah.
back into relevance. But it's funny. This was because you guys have a Spotify,
Oh yeah.
right? And
Title, sorry, no, I don't do Spotify.
But so they do
I
that
don't
yearly rap thing and whatnot, and I thought this was fucking hilarious. Your boys' fucking top 5 songs.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear it.
Oh, this is great. Number 1, Tracy Chapman, why?
Do you want to read your raps? Because Tidal has their own rap. Mine is so fucking embarrassing, you guys.
Dude,
Mine is so embarrassing.
Okay, hold on.
It is
I don't even-
terrible.
Holy
There are
shit.
some songs I don't even remember listening to that are in my top listen to. Jesus.
Well, so
Where'd they
I
go?
got the I don't know how to do this shit. So you got the your top artist, which I already can guess what that is. That's gonna be TC. But no. So Tracy Chapman was the #1 song I played last year. The next one down, Typo Negative. So, like, holy shit! Is that a chasm between those two artists?
That's so good.
Okay, do you want to guess what my #1 most listened to song of 2023 was?
Yes.
Because you'll never fucking guess.
Something by the Judds.
Something by the Judds.
I'm so surprised. They're not even in my top 10.
No shit.
No, I
hell,
feel like
man.
the algorithm for Tidal is way off because I have not listened to some of this shit in a very long time. #1 song I listened to in 2023 was "I'm in a Hurry and I Don't Know Why" by Alabama.
Whoa.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think I went on a purge one week where I rediscovered that song and forgot how good it was.
Wow.
That is my #1. I'm in a hurry to get things done. Oh, I wish because that's no fun. All I really gotta do is live and die.
Oh, I remember that song. I love that.
Yeah, well, apparently I remembered it too.
My top song is Ninth Verse Thought by Black Thought.
Oh,
Great fucking song.
see, this is getting more embarrassing
Okay, yeah.
for
So
me.
top artist was Typo Negative. #2 was Tracy Chapman.
Okay, wait.
Ooh, Tracy
Bring it
Chapman.
in. It's pretty awesome because the photos, you got the ominous fucking doom metal band Typo Negative, and then just right below that, Tracy Chapman. With
Do you
her
know how
acoustic
do you know how
guitar.
fucked this algorithm is? There isn't a Beyonce song in the top 10 on mine. There's no
Wow.
way
I mean,
that's possible.
Maybe I think you just admit him. You might be.
I'm a fake
false
fan.
phony.
I have Someday
She's
I
a
Suppose
phony.
by the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones above.
This totally makes sense. My top 5 genres. #1 is hip hop. #2 is Hindu music,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
and then #3 is indie hip hop.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep, that tracks.
Yeah, top 5. So
Makes
why?
sense.
And then She's Got Her Ticket was my 5th top song.
Oh my
God.
That's, yeah, see,
you go.
us true TC fans, we don't listen to Fast Car anymore or talk about Revolution. We listen to Why,
Oh my
and we listen to
God.
She's Got Her Ticket.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I
fucking
don't
love
trust
that.
She's
Tidal.
going to fly away.
I was watching a documentary the other day about
Fuck.
aliens, and it was
Thomas Jefferson was in a cult, man. And that cult was into aliens, man.
and they were talking about like the government involvements and all this shit that's been coming out, and they were like talking about the companies that the government subcontracts out for alien monitoring and shit.
Sure.
And lo and behold, the fucking front man from Blink 182 is like the CEO of one of those
Yes.
Tom
companies.
DeLonge.
Move on.
Tom DeLonge.
Yeah.
He is
Yeah.
so
Holy
deep in the alien
shit.
stuff.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's like co-founder of MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a member, by the way.
That's so
Yeah.
fucking cool. I was like, wait a minute. Like he's unmistakably that guy. you know?
Unironically too, like he has
Yeah.
so many interviews where he's like, "Yeah,
Well,
I'm
and,
just
like,
I'm using my platform."
Astrophysicist Brian May of fucking Queen, like, works with the
Oh, that's
Royal
right.
fucking Space Academy or whatever.
Jesus Christ,
Because he
man.
fucking can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we were in class together, dude.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
also
Yeah.
in Queen. I do this, but I'm also in Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs to explain that to all those fucking cool pocket protecting wearing people. Hey, that guy's a famous rock star.
This guy fucks over here.
Yeah, exactly. This guy fucks.
Sorry, guys.
This guy fucks.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Did you guys hang on when Snoop Lion came around? When
I
Snoop
never
Dogg
even
pivoted?
fucking
Did you listen to that album?
I supported him in his decision.
Yeah.
I don't think I listened to anything.
I
I didn't
No.
listen to it.
But I appreciated
totally,
it.
yeah.
Go
Good
for
for
I mean,
it.
hot
Yep.
take. I wasn't that big into Snoop even fucking back in the day.
Yeah.
We did some good shit on the Chronic, but I didn't. Did you really listen to Doggy Style
Oh
all
yeah,
that much?
yeah.
Or
Oh,
like,
yeah, totally.
Or was
Yeah.
it like fucking Murder Was the Case? Was that the album after that?
I was I
Dog
I
Father.
lost track of Snoop when he went to
No Limit. That was some
I
weak ass
shit. I
shit.
didn't like it, but I respected him for doing what he had to do. Well, Death Row was fucking with him and basically wouldn't give him money for his albums and wouldn't give him rights for it.
Yeah, I mean,
so
I
he
don't want to
bounced
say
out
anything
with the
disparaging
masterpiece.
about
Yeah.
Suge Knight because he could, potentially hear this, but
The real
He is a listener.
Suge, yeah, exactly.
He's a great human being. Looks
Yeah,
great in red.
Exactly.
just superb.
Great in a red suit. Shout out Suge.
The real question is, did y'all hang on for Chris Gaines?
Well, we talked about that. You said that was like a fucking soundtrack to a movie.
It was supposed to be a soundtrack to a movie. No, I was of the confused camp back
Yeah.
then. But to be fair, like
everybody
in the
was.
90s, we didn't have a lot of information that we could dig into besides what was being given to us.
Right.
Like we didn't have internet access really back then, maybe a little bit, but it wasn't like as robust as it is now. So you really had to like rely on the magazines and like the and they were basically saying what we all thought. Like, what the fuck is Garth Brooks doing?
Nobody knows.
So speaking of the internet, I saw a live show. Have you ever heard of John Craigie? He's a acoustic
rings a
like
bell.
folk artist. He's pretty fucking good, but he does like kind of stand up between songs. And he was
Okay.
talking
I love
about
that.
the internet. And he goes, "Yeah, when the internet first started, we had like no internet, and then we had just like a little bit of internet, and then we had a lot of internet. Now we just have way too much internet." And it's just like, fuck, man, that's totally how it was.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't remember what the fucking parallel he was drawing, but it is very funny because it was just a very trickled thing with that. And now it's just like,
I barely even used the internet except for work stuff until maybe like 2009 when I got on phones.
Yeah.
Right? Like I did like work
That
shit.
was
like
the
every
game
once in a while,
changer
like,
when
like
you have it in
Google
your
some
hand.
stuff or like like download MapQuest fucking maps like a fucking pirate. And
If you had to
Print out
sit
those
down,
macros.
if you had to sit down at your desk for TikTok, I'm not scrolling for 5 hours.
Right, exactly.
Not doing it.
It doesn't have the same effect.
No, if I have to get up out of my bed to go to like
Yep.
TikTok, it is the phones.
Yeah.
It is the internet on the phones.
Yeah, I was like barely on MySpace doing shit like that.
No.
Yeah,
But
did
until it
did
got on the phone, and
come
now
out
it's
in
just like
2008,
fucking
it's
hell.
like, thanks, Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, then our lives got ruined.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
and
I
he
didn't
just
even get
dipped
an
out.
iPhone
We were
until-
able to fucking look up Kodo mid podcast.
Yeah, I know.
I watched. Have you guys seen the BlackBerry movie with Dennis from Always Sunny?
Stop.
Yeah, it's
No.
it's a
Howerton?
backstory of BlackBerry.
And just
What?
how they
And
dominated. and how they
Jay gosh,
Oh,
he was he was in the whole the world.
This is the end. He's
This is the end,
the
yeah.
skinny guy. He was
You
$1 million
sure?
baby.
Jay
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Baruchel. Thank you,
Baruchel, yeah.
Baruchel.
Tropic Thunder. He was in that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
love Jay Baruchel.
Yeah.
So
Johnny Barry.
Jay plays the guy that basically invented it, and then Dennis from Always Sunny plays the guy that is like this ruthless cutthroat CEO that basically just like fucking mismanages the whole thing.
Great
but
casting.
Gets it to a point to where it became BlackBerry, and then it all went downhill because the iPhone came out and they
Right.
tried to emulate something with the iPhone. I remember my girlfriend at the time
My
got
buddy
that
had
BlackBerry
the
Storm.
BlackBerry Storm. The
It was such a fucking horrible
Terrible.
phone. It was
He called it clogged. He was like, it's clogged. I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Loved my BlackBerry.
But the BlackBerry, that was the first phone I had when I started doing like management
the
stuff.
side button
Oh my
and
God,
the
it was
roller. I
amazing,
had the
yeah.
Pearl. I had the
Yeah.
Pearl one at the end, and that was my fucking favorite. But I had the Storm for a second
Man,
because
who
it was the
fuck are you
touchscreen one,
typing
right?
Emails to.
Nobody. That was the point. But it looked like I did. I looked like a very, very important businesswoman rolling
like,
into
is
my
that like
4
a
p.m.
couple
shift
years-
at Melting Pot in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay,
like,
so check this out. So part of the movie, they talk about that. So part of the sales, so when BlackBerry came out, it was eating up so much data that they couldn't figure out what to do, and they were overloading the servers before they figured out that the phones themselves could be transmitters, right? And so before they figured that out, they were flooding the market. But one of the ways they were doing that was they basically were sending influencers out into public spaces on their BlackBerries, being obnoxious and being like, "I'm typing emails."
business,
I
corporate,
can't do that
corporate
yacht kind of
business.
stuff, you know?
Banking
So,
stocks.
Making
Yeah.
people like be like, "Oh my god!" what
When
is that? I
Obama
wanna have
got
was status.
elected,
Yeah,
it was
it
a
was.
big fucking thing. When Obama got elected, was like, he's got to give up his BlackBerry because
Right.
it's not secure enough.
That's right.
Right.
I
And
forgot
everyone's like,
about
oh, and he's like, oh, Obama's not gonna do that. We're gonna talk like this.
Rebel.
That's gonna stop me from being president. Is my fucking BlackBerry.
You taking my BlackBerry away? My BlackBerry Storm? Honey, no.
Oh my god! But yeah, that was a fucking interesting movie. That was very
Well,
interesting.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah. Are you guys Mumford & Sons fans?
I mean,
I'm not not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't just be like, man, this is shit. But if I hear, the 2 or 3 tracks a few more times,
He,
I might-
Marcus Mumford is really close with Brady Carlisle, so he is featured a lot. They're not married. She's gay.
yeah, I was like, that's when I was like, yeah, no, that's
They're just
why
buds.
I caught that. It was,
Yeah,
no. And I was like, no, it's
Yeah,
not.
But I do feel like if she was straight, they would be a great couple. They would make great music. They do make great music together. But he was at the Joni Mitchell Jam that I went to. He's on a ton of her live shows, on her albums. So like he's in my circle because of that, not
Yeah.
because I'm and I do like him, but I don't actively seek
Yeah.
out Mumford & Sons.
I like Mumford & Sons, like new Basement Tapes and like stuff that he does that Marcus Mumford does independently is awesome. But they got a lot of shit when they went from that folky stuff to adding instrumentation and basically electronic music to their genre. And people didn't like that, and I didn't dislike it, but
When
it
Bob
took me
Dylan went electric.
to electric.
Yeah.
Look at boo.
Rock Bob Dylan sucks. They probably just couldn't even understand him even more. It's like, fuck, man, we already had a hard time. But yeah, a lot of people gave Mumford & Sons a lot of shit whenever they pivoted.
Yeah.
And just added in. But I think it added a big layer of opportunity for them to do more shit because clearly I think they all, participate in the songwriting, are great songwriters.
Yeah.
I do think they put together good music. I listen to them quite a bit, actually, but...
Well, it's interesting. So when we were talking earlier about foreign language and stuff, and I remember in Spanish class we were listening to fucking Shakira back in the mid 90s.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a big thing because she didn't cross over to English until probably 10 years after
Right.
that. And it's like, well, why hasn't she done it yet? And it's like, well, there's no reason for her to because they speak a shitload more Spanish than whatever the fuck we want to call this language we speak here.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the whole thing is you go to the market.
Yeah. Cher has had a hit in every decade since the 60s.
Yeah, I believe that.
She's been on the Billboard charts
I saw
every
her-
fucking...
I mean, but with new shit, or is it
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
do you
New
believe
shit.
in love
No.
2000?
No?
She
New
was in an
song
interview-
every fucking decade.
I saw her in an interview
She's
yesterday,
looked like the same for the last 25-ish years.
and she's dating
Yeah.
like a 25-year-old. She's getting it in. She's
on
getting
her.
it in.
Good for her.
She was asked if she is a Cher fan, and she said, "No, I don't really like my music." She's like, "I don't like to listen to it. It's not
I'm
my
sure
not my
by
jam."
this point, she's just like, give me a song, I'll
Right,
sing the song,
I'll sing it.
I'll do the thing and make
Cash
some
my
money
check.
and do whatever, right? And
No,
that's fine.
she's-
Fucking good for you.
New music. New music of Cher's every
Cher.
decade. Yeah.
Yeah, there's I don't know if you guys listen to Little Brother. They're a hip hop group from North Carolina. So Fonte, Big Pooh are the rappers, and then Ninth Wonder, who's just an amazing DJ for a bunch of people, but he's their DJ for that. Fonte is like one of my favorite fucking MCs. Like he's such a good fucking wordsmith, metaphors, like all the kind of shit, cadences, all the shit that I love. He does, and I think about 4 or 5 albums. And Little Brother never got super big. They got a lot of local accolades, maybe East Coast stuff, but never really went big. But they're very well known still. But Fonte decided to do a project called Foreign Exchange, and it was bringing this producer over from from somewhere in Europe. His name was Nicolay, and they made like this very R&B album, and that kind of like I didn't know what I was going to think about that at first because, again, like Fonte is like one of my favorite MCs, and he's now singing on this fucking R&B style album. It was one of the fucking dopest albums I've ever heard, and I still listen to it to this day. Like
What was
front
it
to
called
back.
again?
So the artist is called Foreign Exchange.
Okay.
And I can't remember the name of the first album. But it's so well put together, and it's actually, he does a good job like melding together his like kind of hip hop with a little bit of singing. Subsequent albums I wasn't such a big fan of. Like they got like 2 or 3 other albums out. They're still good, but they're definitely more R&B than kind of that hip hop. But like that's a fucking dope ass album. Like I'll fucking look it up real quick just so I can give you that. But that was one of those pivots that I was like, good for you. No, that was fucking well worth it.
Yeah. pivots at workout are great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Connected. That's the
Connected,
name of the
okay.
album. It's a great album.
Joni Mitchell's another one that she really kind of did a 180 when she moved into jazz.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
she kind of went into like from folk to jazz, and she got a lot of flack, I think, from people for doing that because her music just sounds really different. And
Joni fans.
From the Joni fans, but we all stayed with it for sure. But like, I think people were confused that she did such a hard pivot.
Yeah.
But I think her voice changed, and also her interest changed. She was like, okay, I've done this, and I'm an actively growing artist. And then she's like, then gave it up and was like, I just want to paint now. And then it's just now painting.
Good for her.
So I appreciate artists that fucking swing for it and then don't stay in the lane when they're not being inspired. Just keep doing what is inspiring to you.
Yeah. Who's to say? Like, you know, I mean, it's kind of actually now really thinking about this on a bigger thing. Like an artist like Joni Mitchell, or even just whatever, pick a '90s artist that had one or two albums that were big, and it's like, cool, you know. For all you know, it's just like, yeah, I was into playing guitar and doing that, thought that was me. We talk about how you just go through this progression. Andre's doing fucking flute albums now, and it's just like, yeah, that's what I was doing. I heard Robert Plant talk about how Stairway to Heaven, like, oh, it's such a big song. He's like, oh, those lyrics are so big. And he's like, cool, yeah, I wrote that when I was 23.
Right,
So you have
I'm
to
not in the
understand,
same
I'm
spot.
fucking 23.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, these lyrics are so... He's like, okay. Fucking what rhymes with car?
Yeah.
Bar. I don't know. That's as far as I got on songwriting.
No, but that's so true. Like, you're not the same human you are in your 20s, so why would you keep making that same music as a different
and
person?
It's just kind of like, you know...
or you're in
who's
a
to
different
sit-
spiritual
who's to
place,
sit there
like
and say,
Andre. Like,
isn't- and now, especially like us, like, we're the product of reinvent yourself whenever you want, and it's never too late to do anything. It's like, no, Joni Mitchell, you need to do Coyote Part 38.
Yeah.
You need to fucking keep doing Coyote.
yeah.
Put down the fucking... the titanium white...
Titanium white.
Canary yellow.
Thank you. I was like, fuck, I'm drawing a blank. I'm like, it's always titanium white, because that's the base.
Any of the ochres.
Yeah.
I mean, he was all big
Let's
into
go to a
ochres.
fan brush and the titanium white.
Yeah.
My brother actually sent me a video of him using, I don't know where they got it, but it's a Bob Ross toaster. And so he like puts the toaster in.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
pops in the
yeah,
center.
right. And so he's like, okay, so we're putting in the bread, and put the bread in, push it down. Okay, we're waiting. It smells like burning plastic. Oh my god, I think something's on fire. It literally, like, you start to see like a little spark, and like it's like smoking out of the top. Like, oh shit! And then it pops up, and the afro is like super burnt.
Toaster's like, sorry guys, this is my first one.
Did you ever, we called it fucking, I think it was called like monster toast. You would take food coloring and make faces on fucking toast when you were at daycare.
Nope,
No.
didn't do that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's magic.
Food coloring tastes like shit.
Yeah.
I have never met a toaster.
Robin's takeaway from monster toast.
Tastes like shit. I have never met a toaster that has adequately toasted a piece of bread. It's either too much or too
You need
little,
to buy
and
that-
I have to be the one to decide, because if I leave it
got-
up to the toaster, it fucks me
you're a
every time.
self-popper?
You gotta
I'm a
buy
self-popper.
that, buy
Right.
that, buy that fucking Balmuda one on Amazon. That fucking $250 toaster that does one slice of toast.
I'm absolutely not going to do that.
It steams.
Absolutely
I'd rather
not.
stand under toast with a
No,
lighter.
so the guy who I watched the guy use it. And he's like, "Wow, this is like a game changer. Super like what you think you know about toast." I'm like, "It fucking damn well better be." But apparently, like, it toasts it without taking any moisture out of the bread. So if you think of, like how you have toast. Again, it's fucking intriguing. I want to try this
the moisture
fucking toast.
out
Okay.
because that's what toast is.
No,
I
but
want a
see,
crunch.
it's a textural thing. So like but you get the crunch without making the bread dry.
Okay, so when
Well, one of you needs to buy it so I can try it.
Right.
Dude, it's so fucking.
$250.
I don't have enough room in my kitchen. Believe me, I've
I've thought
about that, motherfucker. I'm not gonna do.
If I do two English muffins back to back, which I normally do because I usually just don't have one English muffin, the first one takes me for fucking ever to get it right. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to leave the second one because the toaster knows better than me and it comes out black every time. So the second time is always hard because it's like it's already heated up or something.
No toaster toaster oven can go back to back on that. Like, I just firmly believe that you're fucked at that
You can't-
point.
you
Because
have
it needs
to
to
have
get
rest
back down
time.
to room temperature again.
Exactly.
Like, my buddy's fucking
horseshit.
had this amazing toaster oven that was, like, clearly from, like, the Nixon administration.
Sure.
That motherfucker slayed the first 2 slices of toast. Anything after that, it's like, cool.
terrible.
It's cool. That's not even enough. That's not even one fucking serving, bro.
What am I
like, we're talking
paying
the
you
old school
for?
small fucking. Yeah, what am I paying you for? Fucking a very small fucking amount of toast.
Yeah, and you're gonna tell me the interval of when you're gonna be toasting?
It is fucked though. So yeah, I mean, toasters are not. I went the toaster oven route. I fucking dropped some money on this, and you still run into that problem with the second round because
Yes.
the toaster is fucking hot.
I even bought the real one, or the real long one, where you could fit 4 pieces on it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like it's got the
Oh,
two
so
really
yeah,
long
yeah,
slots.
yeah.
Guess what? Doesn't matter which side. If you've already activated the toaster, the second round is gonna be black on one side
That's
and
such
and
fucking
black on
bullshit.
the other side. To be quite frank.
So yeah, no, I mean, task specialization. We've talked about this, but this is great fucking podcast.
I love this. This is
material.
fantastic.
This is it.
But yeah, we just need to fucking
What
dump
other
all that
Christian
shit you were
instruments do
talking
you guys
about,
not like?
life
I can't
development.
imagine. Can you imagine in the silent retreat line? What if you get to be first for the toaster? That is the best case scenario. But what if you're
shit.
fucking
That's a whole nother
last?
layer.
If you are fucking last, that's a whole
well, see,
other
that's the
element.
other thing is like at this point, because like we're fucking how long is those silent retreats?
10 days.
Fuck
Too
me.
long.
Oh my god.
Too long.
So establish that you're a dick, an alpha male at or alpha them at fucking day 2.
I shouldn't laugh at that, but that was fucking funny.
But so do that on day 2. It's like, who's really gonna fucking remember that? Because it's like, I know if I would be at the silent tree, be like, man, fuck that fucking guy. He jacked my spot for the English muffin, and then I'd be like, man, I wish I could go talk shit. Wouldn't
No.
be able to.
No.
And then I'd be moving on to, all that other shit in my head for the next 24 fucking hours.
Just meditating on on toaster drama.
But see, yeah, but like literally, fuck, man, yeah, the toaster.
And then the next day, if someone was like taking your spot, because I want to be first in
I
line,
also gotta
obviously,
imagine
for a lot
they
of
gotta have
reasons.
shitty toasters there too. I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, they're gonna fucking buy the nice ones.
Oh yeah, there's definitely
Well,
not
actually,
going to
we're
be
pretty
any
good.
They were
moisture
pretty
left
good.
in the
Yeah,
bread.
they're
it's like
pretty
not gonna
good,
let
yeah.
me get away with that. They might miss
Yeah,
the ramen.
step in there.
Listen here.
There was a hefty amount of double toasters.
Well, so the thing is, back to that thing is that I have a toaster oven in my house, and that's I fucking love it. I use it, but like, do you have like the fucking slot, motherfucker?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
the
that
slot.
I feel is the adequate way to actually do toast. This oven shit is great for all the other bullshit that I eat. That stuff from the freezer aisle. Fantastic, giddy up.
Yeah.
But like for toasting, not really the shit.
No. And
You
it
gotta go
takes
for the
too
slot,
long.
motherfucker.
You gotta do the slots, but you can't. You
So
have
you're
to be a
still-
self popper.
You're still afflicted with the fucking one round, regardless of the.
Oh, I would say more so because
Really?
I can't see what's happening.
That's
so I can't
bullshit.
monitor
That's
how
fucked
toasted
up.
it's getting. I only have my sense of smell to know too crispy.
Just
it's too
follow
crispy. I
your
gotta
nose.
pop it,
Fuck
and then
you,
I pop
Toucan
it,
Sam.
and it's completely fucking black.
That's bullshit.
I hate that.
and because it's a
So you got
twofer.
slot toasters. So you
I'm
got
a slot
four,
toaster,
four
yeah.
fucking slices.
Yeah, you
well,
can do 4
so mine.
slices. 5
But
if
the
they're
fucking
smaller.
no, but see, okay, gotta ask. So I've run into this, I believe, in my, see, this is the same example though. When is the time you're using a 4-slot toaster? Fucking that continental breakfast at whatever the fuck Holiday Inn you were at.
Sometimes
Some shitheads already put Eggos in there.
I buy this really good sourdough bread, but the bread slices are huge.
Yeah.
And so when you put them in a regular toaster, you're half in, half out. I gotta pop it halfway through to flip it
That's
over.
fucking
But if
bullshit,
you
too.
are in a large 4-piece toaster, I can fit the whole thing in horizontally.
Yep.
So that's why I bought the long one, because I like my not square pieces of bread. I have loaves.
Totally.
Do you run
Same.
into the
Yeah.
problem? Do you run into the problem with the 4-slot toast?
I guarantee you I do.
where God. Well, so like I got to imagine if we're talking slice, those first slot
Slice,
2
baby.
and 3 are gonna toast fucking way more toastier than 1 and 4.
That this was the problem I was describing earlier.
Yeah.
God damn, I missed the point.
Yeah, it wasn't a toaster
Remember that
oven,
time we
Chef
were talking about the
Bourdain.
table?
We're using slot toasters at my fucking place. We're not doing that. No. So that was my point. Is that like because I never usually have one English muffin. I usually have 2 English muffins, so 4 pieces of slices or whatever, 4 slices. And if you toast back to back in a slot toaster, you're fucked. The second round is fucked. It's going to be totally black. And also, if you're in at the same time, it's dispersing the heat differently. So I get uneven toast on all 4.
Can you bank these? Are you throwing all 4 coils down?
So if I throw all of them down,
The fucking restaurateur. You
God.
I'm banking them. So
So you could literally, but you could just, you got 4 fucking, you could do slice. What about you toast the outside on your first round? You go 1 and 4 on your first round. All right? And then in the second time, you're toasting in the middle.
2 and 3.
What about that?
I haven't tried that. That might be the solution to my problems.
Sounds like the golden ratio.
That might, my problem is my dumbass is putting them on the same side, not either side.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna experiment when I get home.
This is going to be the fucking best podcast.
All right.
Maybe we're having English muffins for dinner.
Yeah. Well, I've been on this kick where I've been really craving beans and toast.
Beans and toast? What the fuck? It is cold outside.
I had it. I mean, I've had it multiple times when I've like traveled abroad because they only do
That's all
like
they do.
beans
That's
and toast or whatever.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks like, oh, beans and toast are disgusting. And I forget about how much I love that when I travel abroad because for me, it's the perfect breakfast. It's hearty. It's not too sweet. And I'm very nauseous in the morning. So if I have to eat, this is something I can get down very quickly and more pleasantly than like a pancake or eggs. Like eggs in the morning sometimes are too much.
Yeah.
But beans on toast, like you get protein, you get a little sweet, you get a little salty. It's perfect. And then I was watching a British show and they were talking about beans on toast. And I was like, I could make beans on toast here. I don't have to wait until I'm abroad to eat beans on toast.
You got to find that weird can of Heinz.
Oh, no. I just go vegetarian Bush's baked beans. I don't even care. And then I just put on sourdough bread. But then that's when my toasting problems have begun. Is because I've been beans on toast. Okay.
Go 1, 4, 2, 3.
1, 4, 2, 3. Great. Yeah.
That's like your microwave slide down.
Yeah.
I went 159 last night.
Yeah.
159.
Yeah. Because I've been going 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's a dumb way to do it. You need to go 1, 4, 2, 3. Yeah.
Glad we figured this out.
Okay, great.
I'm just going to go to her house and just fucking be like, how are you juicing? No,
Yeah.
that's
No.
not
No. See, these are things you can think about on your darkness retreat.
I will have to now. I don't think I'll get that out of my head. That's just good shit. So, all right.
Oh, man. Well, actually, yeah, see, there's going to be another thing. Like, actually, back to that whole sitting in the dark for a week straight and then feeding you plates of whatever. It's going to be dark, so you're actually not going to see it.
Yeah.
So you actually, there's like a sensory thing there.
Totally.
That you're probably not actually going to be 100% aware of what you're eating.
Yeah, so it's
Well, they have whole restaurants around that. It changes your taste buds.
totally.
Yeah.
There was one in Seattle for a little while.
Yeah.
But my understanding is it's going to be more of like a raw vegan diet kind of thing. So like fruits, vegetables,
Farmer's dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Eat like,
Like,
eat
I
like olive.
fucking mixed this shit up for Olive right before I left on this.
It's familiar.
But yeah, so I think but again, I think to both your points is it activates those senses that you normally wouldn't have because it's like a dopamine fast, right? You have nothing, no sight, no sound, nothing going on around you, and so you're basically taking all that dopamine and all those.
Dude, we're gonna take you to
hormones
Chuck
out
E.
of your
Cheese
brain.
after we get you
Yeah,
out of this
right?
fucking thing.
How
We're
do
gonna
you
go
Like
right
going to
you-
Vegas.
How do they bring your eyes out
So that's
of total darkness
when,
after 7
when
days?
you
back
get
to
to the-
important conversations.
Totally. So when you get to the property, they take you around the entire property. It's like 20 acres, and if you're drawn to a place, you can say, "This is where I'd like my awakening at." If you want to see the sunrise, you can do that, right? You can have you can really kind of tailor the way that you want those first moments to come back are. And there's an Instagram account I follow that was one of the places I was trying to get into, but I ended up not going with them because they just couldn't get me into time. But I've watched some of the reveals that they have, and there's children that do this. You know, I think the youngest I saw was like probably 13 years old.
Fuck.
And but just seeing people's reactions when the veil is lifted and their first sights and
As a
tears
sunrise?
and like just emotion and
That would be
and I
worth
remember
sitting.
like the first time I spoke after Vipassana, it was like one of the most weird and beautiful things. Like my voice, I hadn't used it in so long that I sounded like Kermit the Frog.
Mm.
And I went with Monica, so once we could talk, like I was talking to her, and I was like, I'm not going to talk anymore. You talk for a while because I got to get used to this.
Yeah.
This just doesn't sound like me.
Well,
right
what
now.
were your first words?
I
remember?
love you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's, I can't.
Yeah.
I-
But it was
Yeah.
also like we hadn't been able to, we saw each other, but we hadn't been able to interact in any way because they keep gender separate
Sure.
at those things. So we would see each other maybe randomly on walking paths, which was always very interesting. Like I would be walking, and there was the walking paths were separate for genders also. But there was one that I could see, we could see the each other's dormitories, and there were walking paths outside of that. And so there was countless times where, like, Mon and I would be walking, or I would be walking and just stop and turn around and look, and Mon would be over there, like, staring at me. I'm like, oh, it's beautiful.
Aw.
And we would see each other, know where each other were at in the meditation halls and stuff,
Yeah.
So it was cool to kind of feel that connection because you really do feel the actual connection.
Yeah,
So
without
when you
speaking.
looked over and you saw him on there, you were just like, did you do like the sup, or did you like the Forrest Gump on the boat, or did you just fucking do the you weren't supposed to look at her and you knocked all the cool out of your
Yeah.
walk and you went walk away? Like it was one of those three.
No, we would just stare at each other because we can't wave. You
Yeah,
can't,
no. So
Yeah.
that's the thing.
So it would just be that acknowledgement of like, oh, I see you see me. That's cool. Like
Yeah.
that's awesome. So yeah, we had some moments like that, but Mon was the first person I saw because it was like we ended meditation in the meditation hall, and as soon as you walked out of the hall, we could start talking again. And so it was more or less like, okay, I know exactly where you're going to be at, so let's find each other and talk.
Yeah.
But there were people like
Toaster
doing
3.
cartwheels. There were people like fucking. I mean, I was crying also,
Yeah.
but there were people crying. It's just it's very emotional. All the things, right? To accomplish something like that, to find out whatever you needed to find out about yourself, like all the bullshit, not bullshit, all the things.
Yeah, and then you came. I remember the world imploding and being like, "Oh, Adam doesn't know about this."
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Come back to learned that all at a Starbucks.
Yeah. I mean, that is the
was
perfect.
that COVID?
No,
election.
that was election. That was Trump and super bullshit.
Yeah.
So, our friends Alex and Anna Trolson out in Hawaii, she was doing Anna was doing a retreat like that when they had that fucking false missile launch thing. Like years ago,
Hawaii?
so Alex is
shit.
fucking.
No.
He's telling me the story. I'm just
wow.
weeping for him. He's freaking the fuck out, and he's just
Yeah.
like, and she was just like chilling. Like 2 days later, just comes back and is like, "What?
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I feel really good actually.
Yeah.
God, it's crazy.
That's fucking nuts, man.
No.
Good
do you know what
times.
your awakening is going to be?
No, not yet. I'm gonna kind of again sit with that and figure out where I want to come out at. But yeah, we'll
I'm
see what
excited for you.
happens.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about it when it happens.
Great.
All right. Anything else?
1 and 4s on the toaster.
That's right.
4,
1 and
2,
4.
1 and 4 on the
2, 3.
toaster.
1, 4, 2,
Done.
3.
Got it.
All
1, 4, 2,
right.
3. Got it.
1, 4, 2, 3. We'll see you next time.
That's probably my door code to some shit.